I sped up this video a bit so you can still follow along, but it'll be a little bit faster than normal. And now I'm adding the text and the voice afterwards. So I started off by drawing circles with a compass, finding the center of the stone, and drawing some circles with a white chalk pencil. And then I started with a big center white dot. And now I'm going around that white dot with one of my dotting tools, the smaller one, pink one, with just white dots all around it. I use the circles for guidelines, but I don't use them for specific lines to put on there. So it's not like each line means I'm going to put something on top of that. It's just to keep the circles even, because in this mandala dot rock pattern, I'm going to need it to be fairly circular. And so this is going to be a rainbow pastel dot painted rock. And my first color that I used was kind of a hot pink, but pink is kind of a pastel color, so I chose it first after the white dots. And then I'm going to do a ring of white dots in between each color. So that'll give you an idea about what I'm going to be doing on this pattern. So right now I'm adding in the white dots around the pink. Starting off with a major big white dot, small white dots around that, then pink in a larger dotting tool. I actually used one of the tools from my punch set to make the pink dots. Then I'm using a dotting tool to go around that with the white. And I'm going to use a punch tool again. Oh, right now, this is something interesting that just to help you with little hints to clean up your mess when you make a little mess. The white dots got pretty close together, and the white that I was using was not really thick, so it ran a little bit. And so to create more of a dotted look, I used the toothpick to clean up the excess paint, to separate the white dots to make it look more like dots and not like a line that ran together. So this is the kind of a peachy orange pastel color that I'm going around after the white dots, the second row of white dots, the second circle of white dots. And these did not fit exactly. I didn't plan how many dots I was going to put on this one. And so I went back and just touched up some of the other dots to make it look more circular. Now I'm adding another row of the white. This turns out to be a very pretty pattern. It was my first time to try this one, and I really had fun with it. I do use a little Lazy Susan, tiny one, for underneath my rocks when I'm painting, and I find that to be completely helpful. I can add a link to where I purchased them, or if you leave a comment below, I do have a couple of extra sets. I could send you one. We can get together on that. I don't have them in my Etsy shop. I could do that. Leave a comment below also if you would like me to add that into my Etsy shop, and you can just purchase it from the shop. That's fine too. Or if you'd rather just go to Amazon and purchase it where I did. You can do it either way. Okay, now I'm adding in a very pale yellow around the neck, that last row of white dots. And you can see that it's forming a very pretty design. Again, don't forget that I have sped up this video, so don't expect to go this fast on your own unless your superhero speed is working that day. So the yellow dots are done, and then I'm going to go around with I'm cleaning up a little bit of the yellow also. I separate it with the toothpick, and it draws a line of the paint away, and then I wipe it, and then I draw some more of the paint away, and it just corrects mistakes, and it makes sure that dots are as circular as possible. Okay, now I'm adding the white. So I add the white with the dotting tool. I'm using about the same size dotting tool for the white dots on this one as I have before. So continuing on around that. And don't forget, I use natural stones. I'm not using a wooden pebble that's perfect or a molded stone. You can. Those are perfectly fine to use. but I use natural stones. I live on an island that has many natural stones, and it just seems right to choose nature to make art. So for me, that's what I do. So I'm just about completed with this white circle around the yellow. And then we're going to move on to the next color after that. So you can see how the rock is uneven. This rock also has been resined beforehand. And what I did with that was when I'm resining my art rocks that I've already painted and I have excess resin, I will take a rough textured rock that's not particularly smooth, and I will add resin to that, and it makes it easier to paint on. Now, mind you, when you paint on resin, it does have a slicker surface, so you need to be careful with that. You have to really go up and down on the stone. As you're putting your dot, it has to be pretty much directly down onto the stone. Otherwise, you will end up sliding with your tool that you're using. This is kind of a lime apple green that I'm using now to create the next row of dots. And I'm using different brands of paint, no particular brand. I'm not pushing anything. I'm not trying to sell any certain type of color. So at the end of that green row, the dots weren't meeting up as well as I wanted, so I made the dots in between on either side of the space a little bit larger to make your eye conform to a circle more. You can trick your eyes with a negative space. So if you make less negative space, if the space is too large, then it creates the same vision as if it was a perfect circle. You'll have to try that to see what I mean by that. But your eye will see what you want it to see if you create the equal negative space around the dots. I hope that helps explain that. Maybe it made it more confusing. So now we're adding another row of white. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I haven't resined this rock yet. What I will do at the end of this video is I will resin the rock again. It's already been resined once, and then I painted on top of the resin. And then to seal the artwork in, I will add another coat of resin on the stone. So if you have any questions about resining, or if you're interested in learning how to resin, please put a comment down below. I do have a resining video. I will try to put that link down below also so that you can see that. And the next color is, I'm shaking it up, I think, and then I'm correcting a few pink ones that I must have splattered some white. Okay, now the next color. It's going to be blue, I'll tell you that, but it's very, very light pale blue. So the rainbow, it goes along, okay, your primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. And then the colors you mix together from two of those colors becomes your secondary colors. And those are your green, your orange, and your purple. And if you add white to any of those colors, you'll just add lighter shades of those. Or if you add, let's say you're trying to create a green, but you add blue and yellow. If you add more yellow, you'll end up with a more appley, limey kind of a green. And if you add more blue, you'll get more of a teal and more of a aqua colored green, more like that. So you pick the colors you choose by how much you blend the primary colors to make, but you can buy paints in every color imaginable, so you don't have to do any blending if you don't want to. Again, anytime you want to lighten a shade, you just add white to it and mix it up really well, keep it stirred, and you will end up with a lighter shade of that. A lot of times when I'm adding top dots to my art, which I'm not adding on this stone, I just take the same color I started with and I add white to it. And a lighter shade of that color looks so pretty. Almost, I can't even think of a color it wouldn't work on. Adding a little bit of a top dot on top of the base color by just adding white to the base color and adding that on top. You don't cover the entire bottom dot when you're doing a top dot. And it really does add some dimension to the stone and to the art. It makes it look much more difficult, which it is a little bit, in that you want to keep it in the center most of the time, unless you're doing kind of a peacock feather look, which would make it off-center. So it adds a lot of depth to the art too, I think. I don't do it on all of mine. I do it on a lot of them. In fact, most of them. This one I did not. This one adding another white dotted circle. You notice the white is taking longer each time because the circles are getting bigger and bigger. But I'm still adding it with the same dotting tool that I started with. However, the colored dots are getting a little bit larger each time, just a little bit in size. So I'm changing the color and I'm changing the size of the colored dots, but the white dots are staying the same. And the last color I'm going to choose to use on this is the last color of the rainbow, which is purple. And if you'll think about how you made purple, you mix the blue and, in this case, pink, but blue and red, either one, will make a purple color. Since I'm using lighter shades, you mix the pink and the blue if you were trying to make purple. However, this one, it was purchased by me. It was already created. This color was already... I have hundreds of paint bottles and containers, so I have plenty to choose from in my colors. Since this dot painting is my addiction. And I do love producing. And I'm enjoying creating videos for you to see. I hope you enjoy the videos. If you have any suggestions, questions, or ideas for future videos, I would be happy to hear from you. Please also remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And please share this so other people can see it. The more views I get, the better it is for me. And the more I'll realize you still want me to make these. I'm going to go around and create one last white dotted circle all the way around the outside. I hope you enjoyed this video. I create it for both of us. I like sharing it. I like being able to produce the art, and the videos are a way for more people to see them, especially with the pandemic that's going on right now. This gives more people a way to be able to continue to see what I do. I am proud to say I tried out for a juried art show, and I made it. I will be doing that in November and December for the holiday art show in our area. So I'm very excited about that. And so I'm producing in mass to continue, I'm selling on Etsy. I have about 70 items now in my Etsy shop. So that's Creekside Art Studio for you. And that's all one word on Etsy.com. And then this channel is Creekside Art Studio space for you. So, and this is my YouTube channel. I'm also on Instagram under Creekside Art Studio. Everything's different. So you're welcome to find me there too. I produce quite a few little Instagram posts. And I'm also on Pinterest. You can find me there too. And on Pinterest, I think it's Creekside Art Studio. So try to find those also. And look for my other videos on YouTube. I have painted hearts and dragonflies and mandalas. So far, I think that's all I've shared with you. And I'll be happy to share more. So this is